Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and this one, do chimps get cancer? So I don't know whether you've ever sort of thought about it, but chimpanzees and gorillas, we share a common ancestor a few million years ago. We are, 98% DNA match to our sort of primate cousins, yet you don't see the cancer rates in chimpanzees as you do in humans. And of course, particularly humans in the last sort of 100 to 150 years, what has changed? What's going on? Well, one of the things that Professor Thomas Seyfried of Boston College is saying is that we have got cancer down as a genetic disease, that's passed on, or our genes are somehow affected with mutations or errors, and this gives rise to, tumours, malignant cells, and then they go crazy and metastasize throughout the body. Well, this is all wrong, he's saying. He said it just cannot be that. It cannot be like that for a number of reasons. And after I watched this video, I did kind of think it was a little bit like the Catholic Church telling Galileo and Copernicus or whatever, that the sun must go round the earth. That's what they observe. Whereas Galileo was trying to tell them that the sun was the centre of the solar system, and that the Earth and all the other planets revolved around the sun. And a little bit like Samuel Weiss, who tried to get surgeons that had been working on cadavers in the training college to wash their hands before they went to the to deliver babies, basically, because there was a high birth sort of death rate amongst babies being delivered in certain hospitals where they had these training situations. It took 70 years for that to kind of filter through to the surgeons. But the somatic mutation theory, somatic as in chromosomes, you get one mutation, you get two mutations, you get three mutations, and then at some point there's an accumulation of errors that gives rise to a malignant cell. But there's a problem with that. For example, there's the absence of mutations in some cancer cells, and some cancer driver genes are found in normal cells that don't sort of turn into malignant cells, which is very strange. But the one that caught my eye was the rarity of cancer in chimpanzees. You don't even get female chimps developing breast cancer. It's such a rare occurrence in our sort of cousins that it kind of doesn't make much sense for it to be a genetic disease. Some of the experiments he did, this is the sort of famous one. He looked at normal cells, under normal cellular mitosis. A normal cell begat other normal cells. Tumour cells begat tumour cells, other tumour cells. And if you put a sort of tumour nucleus into a normal cell, you just get normal cells. However, if you put a healthy nucleus into a cancerous cell with cancerous mitochondria and cytoplasm, then you get cancer cells or cell death. So it's quite obvious there that it's the thing inside the cytoplasm that must be causing the problem. He thinks it's the mitochondria that has the problem. This is you can see the cristae of a normal mitochondria, and on the right the cristae is missing in glioblastoma, which is an aggressive sort of brain cancer that he's done a lot of his work on. Also, he noticed that normal energy production in the cell, in the mitochondria, ATP, is produced with oxidative phosphorylation, as it's called, with byproducts of carbon dioxide and water, with a tiny amount of substrate level phosphorylation coming out of the Krebs cycle and outside of the mitochondria in the cytoplasm. But in a cancer cell, that's much reduced, that oxidative phosphorylation, and in fact you get most of the energy production with substrate level phosphorylation, with a byproduct of succinic acid, and some ATP production outside of the cell, outside of the mitochondria in the cytoplasm, with a byproduct of lactic acid. Also, what he says is that all the damaging effects that we think, damage the nucleus of the cell, damage the chromosomes, actually can damage the mitochondria. Carcinogens, radiation, hypoxia, inflammation, viruses like the human papillomavirus, and also age. These all damage the mitochondria, and downstream you then get damage in the nucleus. And this is what he's been working on. One of the papers he's published is the therapeutic benefit of combining calorie-restricted ketogenic or ketogenic diets and glutamine targeting. Basically, in glioblastoma, if you give the patient or restrict the patient to a ketogenic diet, fat and protein, take all the sugar, the glucose, the glutamine out of the diet, they do much better. And that's really interesting because it shows that cancer loves sugar and glucose and glutamine in order to produce, its sort of harmful effects inside the mitochondria. So this is the video that you should go and watch. I wholeheartedly recommend it. It goes into much more depth. It's 40 odd minutes long. Cancer as a metabolic disease, implications for novel therapies. And he's basically saying that we may have been barking up the wrong tree for 100 years for various reasons, which he goes through. But, for whatever reason, it doesn't really make sense to him. And he thinks that it's a metabolic disease that humans are suffering from. Anyway, go and check it out. Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you again for another